Hello, and welcome to Freezerworks 2018 Pinnacle Edition. Since the addition of patients a few years ago, the next logical step has always been to integrate sample management with study management. To add a system where you can configure multiple studies, each with multiple arms. Then, you can create a visits model for each of those study arms. Then, enroll patients into those study arms using the patient's entry form. Then, create kits that pregenerate sample and aliquot data according to your designed visit models. This can be done by patient, by expected visit date, or by study. Then after you've created the kits and enrolled the patients, you can receive the pre-generated data with Freezerworks labels when visits finally take place. And immediately order any necessary tests based on the received samples. And finally, you can report aggregate and/or detailed study data to stakeholders using any of Freezerworks' advanced reporting tools. We'll make our way through this whole process over the course of the next several videos. But today, let's look over some of the changes you'll see to familiar screens with the integration of study management. Now, the first thing you may notice is that the inventory list view has two new buttons on it. One for studies, and the other for visits. This means that you'll be able to search for both studies and visits, print reports for them, export their data, or use them to drill down through other inventory data such as samples and aliquots. When designing these list views, you'll notice you now have study and visit tables with brand new fields that you can use on list views, reports, exports, labels, and entry screens. Speaking of entry screens, when you put a study or patient field on a samples entry screen, a magnifying glass icon appears next to it. What it means is that you can use this field to search for a patient and/or study to associate a sample with as you're entering data. Let's say you're entering a sample, and you enter in study data unique to the patient's enrollment in a study, such as the participant study ID. The patient will be automatically found, and the system will populate any associated data. The same goes for unique patient fields. Or you can use the Find Patient button when entering or modifying a sample to quickly search for the patient using any of the patient fields on the entry form. Moving right along, you should be aware of the new study management related permissions and roles, where you can control whether a user can even see studies, let alone manage them, create kits for them, and enroll patients into them. In addition to study related permissions, you can also activate study level security and system properties, and protect inventory data on a study to study basis. Much like owner level security protects owner to owner, and freezer level freezer to freezer. Finally, when configuring your studies, enrolling patients, and receiving samples, you'll notice the visit field site name. This is for you to record where visits take place, and thus who to contact with any questions. You'll assign contacts to your sites, contacts selected from the people table, where you can fill out various contact information to use at a later time. Well, that does it for part 1 of our look at the new study management module. In our next video, we'll dive into study management, and I'll show you how to configure a study. Well, thank you for watching, and see you next time.